Hey guys, this is Robin with Weight Loss Apocalypse. Here's another 10-minute clip with a client discussing cultural dogma. Sounds so ominous. But it's kind of a big deal. If you look at what dogma is, you'll find that it's kind of the center of brainwashing. It's by definition, dogma is a unquestionable truth given to you by an authority. So someone given the power over of what's true, what's right, what's safe, what's wrong, tells you a belief as if it is doctrine. There is a attachment of that it is sacred to it. So there's a belief that is supposed to be considered sacred, and you are not to question it, and you're to believe it. Usually these dogmatic beliefs are beneficial to some survival need, such as feeling safe, as you know, and not all dogma is bad. However, dogma is not to be questioned. So the biggest issue here with dogma is that there could be terrible, terrible consequences because of the belief and downsides to the belief. And because it is considered sacred, no one is to look at it as a source of a problem. And once someone is given a sacred level of belief, the goal and idea is that it is a superior idea or ideal, and it is for many people then defended, even though there is clear evidence that there is something wrong. So that's where a lot of cognitive dissonance comes in to all sorts of types of dogma. So in this session, we're discussing why and how she feels so crappy about herself when she's not thin or consuming the right foods that she was told by the diet industry. So anyways, if you would like to watch the whole session, in fact, all of my sessions with this client are posted in the private Patreon account for Weight Loss Apocalypse. So you need to join and become a Weight Loss Apocalypse patron. The link is below. If you would like to work with me, if you have found that you're not getting anywhere watching these YouTube videos and you're sick and tired of this shit, my website link is also below. Go to the Work with Robin link on my website where you can fill out the information request form, and I will contact you usually within 24 hours, sometimes within the hour of receiving the form. So, all right. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being super supportive of Weight Loss Apocalypse. We're spending money as a survival tool. Like, I'm going to buy this diet. So you're consuming a weapon to survive. The diet is a weapon to my thinness, which will support and supply that narcissistic supply of superiority, which is my validation of, it's like that I'm sexy and my husband will like me, that I am perceived as a superior woman in my group of women that I hang out with. I feel secure now in myself, even though it's not in yourself at all. It's not self-security in any way. It's system thin supremacy security, right? So you inherently stay insecure because it's not a self-securing pack animal relationship. It's a needy, codependent with body image relationship with others. It would make sense too that if we remove the one thing you've been using for years to feel somewhat attractive to others and as validation, like when others are attracted to me physically, that's validating that I have something of value, right? If we surrender that your underlying insecurities within yourself, your own sense of self-security, take everybody out of it, that would then be magnified in your own sense of insecurity in public, right? If if I go out and I see someone who is more beautiful than me, I might relapse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we do, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Well,
You know it's coming.
well, if you look at this from a distance, first of all, don't judge yourself. It would be easy to judge because it seems really immature. You're an adult. Why are we still living in junior high? But it's not junior high. This is survival mode. Don't judge that. I don't feel secure, first of all, because I've been targeting food, which stimulates survival mode. You can't get out of it. That's the most primal need to survive. So immediately as you diet, your brain is swelling, super inflammation. But the cause of that is the fact that you do not feel like you are a worthy human being at your core, authentically. So remove your clothes, remove the house, remove the facade, right? I used to visualize it as scaffolding, right? I'm building this facade, and there's scaffolding, and people can't get to the truth of what's in here. They don't know that there's nothing in here, right? The goal is that you remove anything that you're hiding. That if it feels like you are a piece of shit, that why don't you where does that come from, first of all? You can't just feel bad about who you are. That doesn't just happen. There is a belief in place that you are using to compare yourself to then define your worthlessness. So is it that you're not smart enough? What belief is in place? So if we remove body image, if we remove your house, we remove your material goods, we remove your consumability, we remove whatever it is, and you're left completely spiritually, emotionally, and physically buck-ass naked for everybody to see. What's your initial feel of that?
Well, I think that is a big part of it. Is am I smart enough?
Yeah, I don't know why I went there first, but I wonder if did we talk about that in our last session?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We did talk about that.
So that's right, the dumbness. What if it's true? So go into that. So that belief didn't come from you. You weren't born with this idea that smart people are better people. That didn't just happen. At some point, you believed it, and it's believed dogmatically. I think this is an important thing for you to see. Do you know what dogma is?
Yeah, you talked about that, that it's an unquestionable belief
given to you by an authority. So it's not your belief. It is, however, when you internalize it. The word they use when they look at brainwashing is internalization. Once someone says, yes, I agree, then it's internalized and it becomes part of their own sense of value that they think is theirs. So it becomes my value system. So you attach me to it. So at some point, and we could say, of course, intellectualism is a dogmatic belief out there for people who feel inadequate, maybe, if you, again, go back to junior high, you can see it very clearly how people segregate and start sectioning themselves off into groups. There's the smart group, there's the athletic group, there's the hot and sexy group, there's the pot smoking group, there's the group of people who feel like their life has been destroyed and they are the victim group. There's it's like it happens. You can just see it as children develop into adulthood. You can see that part of that brain inflame. Some of it could be intentional, like that's what the brain's supposed to do as we get into adulthood. Let's not judge junior high. I don't want to come across that way.
No, right. But I can, as soon as you say that, I can put myself right back there and trying to fit into a group and yes, feel accepted. And I can live it like it was yesterday.
Yes, and no one really questions the dogma they internalized when they were 12. Partly because your parents may have believed that. What your parents internalize and promote in you to be secure, it would be very easy for you in your innocence as a child to go, yes, okay, I want my parents to love me. I will do what they believe is right as a human being, and I want to be right. And in my rightness, you start to make other people wrong, and that's where those divisions start. So you have to really look at, well, if I am authentically and truthfully not smart, just go into the fear of that. Because I'm pretty sure you can look at the evidence and say that's a funny joke, because I clearly have intelligence. My ability to memorize all these goddamn dumbass diets. You could have a PhD in how to starve yourself. How many ways can we starve without perceiving it as starvation? Right?
Yeah. No, I could probably write out the outline for about the last 30 diets to come down the pike.
Oh yeah, and they've come down
explaining
real fast.
Them.
Over 5 years. Real fast.
I've been on every single one of them, right?
Oh yeah, and every one of them makes sense to you. Every one of them seems promising to you. Everyone seems healthy. They've done a really good job through that media. They know exactly what it's going to take for you to go, this is healthy, and then to impose it, even though it's got terrible, like the HCG diet. Terribly unhealthy psychologically. Now I say that as because it is different than the HCG protocol. Totally different approaches, right? Anyway, so look at that belief and question it. So when we look at the studies of brainwashing and how to get people out of that type of Stockholm syndrome, right? Cultural Stockholm syndrome is when they start to question the dogmatic beliefs that they never questioned. They just internalize it as sacred truths, never to be questioned or looked at, so you don't have to think about those beliefs. You just internalize them. There's no thought to those beliefs. You just hold them as a standard. So they become like an anchor in how you perceive things. When it's dogmatic, again, it's a sacred truth. You don't have to think about. You don't have to. It's just an anchor of the way things are, and then from there you think outwardly. So this entire thought process of thin supremacy is anchoring how you perceive your body, other people's body, in the entire relationship you've had with food up to this point. And you see why in a culture that uses thin supremacy as an anchored dogmatic belief system, why even the science of food addiction doesn't look at the actual restriction as why the brain is so sensitive to food that stimulates the hedonic brain. They believe it too. I mean, they believe in thin supremacy as well. So why would they look at that? Isn't that just a sacred truth that we all want? Because they're super brainwashed, right? How many nutritionists out there? I mean, there's statistics. I think this is like 30% of all nutritionists have an eating disorder. They're attracted to the micromanagement of nutrition for a reason. I can't tell you how many PhD nutritionists I've actually worked with.
Well, it must be super confusing for them because they believe that they have the education to back it, but they're so mixed up inside as well.
Well, it's not an intellectual problem. They can intellectualize a linear idea of what food is all they want, but the reality of how our brain works psychologically around food all that is meaningless, right? Okay. Especially when it comes to all the micromanagement that it's required to do what they've logically said in their mind is great. It requires some form of psychological problem, and that's where their misery comes in and why they would be like, I've got problems. Why would I mean, that doesn't make sense. I'm supposed to be focusing on my macros and my micros.